Hello, and welcome back to the Living in Alignment podcast. And I'm really excited for our guest today. I'm here with beautiful and amazing Angela Jean, and a little bit about Angela. From runaway to resilience architect, Angela Jean transformed survival into embodied mastery. After losing her father and sister to suicide in her youth, she decoded her own body's survival instincts, the silence and hypervigilance, and turned them into science and self-reclamation. Her mantra, "You are who you train to be," fuels a practical method that bypasses empty theory. By blending rhythm, micro movements, and nervous system wisdom, she guides clients to rewrite subconscious patterns at their roots. This isn't healing through talk, but through visceral somatic truth. Angela teaches that since the body learned danger first, it must also lead the way back to safety and strength. Her work replaces survival reflexes and unshakable self belief, offering embodiment, alignment, and inner authority. No performance healing, just profound, lasting change. That is quite a bio. And I like when I read your bio, when your assistant or whoever it was asked if you could be on my podcast, as soon as I read it, I was like, yes, absolutely. I want to talk to this woman. I can tell you have so much. I'm already getting emotional. We haven't even started talking yet. So much value to share. So welcome. How are you doing today, Angela?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Like
Yeah,
I look so forward to these conversations.
yeah, me too. Like I briefly mentioned to you before we hit record, I've met some of my closest friends right here on the show, because
Yeah.
really cool people are people that come on podcasts, or at least on this podcast. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to get to know a little bit more about you. I guess to start, I would love it if you would just share. I know you have a lot of trauma in your backstory, and I don't know how much of that you want to share, but just kind of just to give people a little bit of a background of who you are and how you ended up here. I know I covered some of that in your bio,
Yeah.
but anything that you want to say about that just to create a background of relatedness?
Yeah, a big part. I was raised in an abusive household. Both of my parents struggled with addictions. My mom more than my dad. So my mom was in and out of rehab. My dad tried to raise us alone. Obviously could not because it was three of us. So he married someone else, and that woman was very, very, very physically abusive. So I went
Mm,
from a household of extreme physical abuse, then into a household later in life with my mom with someone she had married that I experienced the sexual abuse. So I went from physical abuse for from 3 to 10 and then to sexual abuse, which is why I ran away so early because I was taught and learned very early in life that home was not safe. Home was
mm,
not safe, so that's why I say my body learned that home was not safe. And for me, running away and living on the streets felt safer. I
mm,
found my way as a teenage runaway, like I should be dead all the time. That's why I say that there's always something higher guiding us. There's always something protecting us. But I did find my way eventually. And once I circled back to my family, it wasn't until I was like 17 or 18 because I just couldn't trust them. And if you go home earlier than that, then they can arrest you. They can put you in juvenile hall. There's many things that they can do, obviously, right?
right.
Until you're an adult. So I didn't actually speak to my parents again until I was 18. And that's when I really started connecting the dots and understanding what I was seeing, that my family wasn't like everybody else's family, that my family was struggling with mental health issues, that sexual abuse is not normal, that this type of physical abuse is not normal. Because if that's all you know, then you just think it's normal. You think everyone's going through this. At least I did. It wasn't until later in life when I started looking back and being able to compare myself to other people, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't normal, whatever normal is. Um, and then after a few years of reconnecting with my family, that's when, everything really started to fall apart. I thought it was bad already, but that's when my dad ended up committed suicide. Sorry, my dad ended up committing suicide. Look at, I still stumble. My heart, my throat chakra still has a problem with saying that. Isn't that interesting? Like when you have your traumas, they're like imprinted. That's when my dad committed suicide. And then my little sister committed suicide because my dad committed suicide. And then my mom died
Oh,
directly after that because my dad was the love of her life. So it was just like, I
Oh
always
my
use
God.
the analogy. It was like being shot with a shotgun. Like each one was like, boom, you know what I mean? And then like another,
Yeah. Oh my
and then
gosh.
another one.
Yeah, that's insane. So how old were you when your father committed suicide?
So this all happened. I kind of, lumped it all together, but this happened when I was 30, and that's when I was thrown into what I would say somewhat of a spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I just got really, I don't know if I was having a breakdown. I don't know what happened, but things got very dark. You know what I mean? I
I do.
just, yeah, I'm sure you can, where you just feel like everything is collapsing on you. And
Yeah.
you're thinking, what did I do to deserve this? Like, why is this happening to me? Right? You feel like you're being
Mm-hmm.
attacked by demons almost. Like, I just didn't know
Yeah.
what was happening. It got very dark and scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely. My mom died in a car accident in my car when I was 18.
Mm,
And so I went through a similar thing. And then right shortly after that, my dad decided to get remarried and have another baby when I was 21, which
oh,
I couldn't like mentally wrap my head around. You know what I mean? Like it was just kind of like you were saying, like the shotgun, like it wasn't bad enough that I lost my mom, but then there's that. I mean, it's not as intense as what you dealt with three deaths back to back like that, but um it's interesting how sometimes we're given these challenges that end up leading to our spiritual awakening, which
mhm.
may not have happened otherwise. And
It's interesting to observe how much you can take before you're down and you're like, okay, I surrender. Because you really
mhm,
have to reach that point of like you have no fight left, no tears left, nothing. You're just on the ground and you're like, okay, like help me, like save me.
mhm,
It really got to that point to me where I was just like, I was just like almost, I was just like afraid almost. I remember I was just like, oh my God, like save me. I don't even know who I was talking to when I really started this. I was just really thinking like in myself, like, save me, help me, help me. I remember saying, help me. And that's really when everything started to unfold as far as
yeah,
like the journey. The journey began when I was in full surrender
yeah,
because I'm a fighter and I was like, nothing's taking me down. Like, oh, F this, I got this. I was so tough, but I wasn't.
mhm,
And so it really took a lot to take me down. So, that's what our bottom is.
yeah,
Like I like to reframe it, it's the moment of surrender.
yeah. Yeah, oh my gosh, I can relate to so much of this. Like with current circumstances I'm going through, as well as like what I just shared. Because when my mom died, I became a drug addict and an alcoholic because I didn't want to feel anything. Like I didn't want to feel the pain. And then like 15 years later, I got sober. And that's when my spiritual awakening actually started, was when I stopped numbing myself
Yeah.
and got to that point that you just spoke about, which is where you're just like you've felt it all and there's no place left to go. You're on the bathroom floor, like
Help me.
help me. Yeah.
Like who
So
something. Like, and that's, I really believe that's when we tap into our soul's journey. That's when you begin the undoing of all the imprints and the things that we've been conditioned to be and believe. That's when you really start going inward and being like, okay, why do I allow this? Okay.
hmm
Like with your dad, that probably imprinted betrayal. I mean, even death, even though your mom didn't mean to die, you feel abandoned. So, boom, abandonment wound.
hmm
These imprints are deep and
yeah,
they affect everything in our life.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I always try to find the reason in things. I don't know if you do that, but like I always try to find like the good in things, no matter how bad they are. I'm always looking for like am I supposed to learn from this, or what good will come from this? And even with my mom's death, I didn't see it right away because I didn't like my dad when my mom died. My dad and I did not really have a relationship. They were married, they were happily married, but my dad had gone on this like spiritual, like he went from being like a normal. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s. This is in the 80s. And so like I was all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And here's my dad going to like India and hanging out at ashrams and doing all this weird stuff. Like to me, it was really weird at the time. And he was just kind of doing his own spiritual awakening thing. And he was just really absent. I didn't feel like he really cared. And so I didn't really have a relationship with him. I didn't like him. We didn't like each other because we just were like this. And my mom was my rock. But after she was removed from the equation, I was forced to have a relationship with my dad, and he ended up becoming my best friend in the whole world and my teacher. And we ended up on a similar spiritual path and hanging out in ashrams together and doing all of that. But like, I don't think that that ever would have happened if my mom was still alive, because I really didn't want to know him. So that's just an example of one of the good things. Have you seen in your experience like some good that's come from this? I mean, I know it woke you up and sent you
Yeah.
to where, the path that you're on now. I don't know if
Yeah,
that,
I mean, I got really close to my older sister, which we had no relationship. Just raised in when you're raised in these homes, you're just violence, breeds violence. You know,
mm-hmm,
it's a constant disconnect and, everybody's fighting everybody and that's what love is, right? Pain,
mm-hmm.
anger, resistance, doesn't feel safe, all the things that we interpret love and safety to be. So we got really, really close.
How much older is she than you?
She's 2 years older, but like we have an unbreakable bond now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So,
Well, I'm
yeah.
sure you were left, just the two of you were
Yeah.
left. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that as well, because I feel like that's what happened with me and my dad. And my brother was in the equation as well. And so it was just like the three of us were left without my mom. And it brings you closer when you go through stuff like that
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Um,
It actually becomes like your connector. Like you didn't connect on anything else, but you connect in this journey, of loss and pain.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Forever. Because
Yeah.
that connection is still like there's just a common knowing, that we've both been, went through this and are still going through it. We
Yeah.
have that in common, forever. So
You know what I want to say in regards to when you said, do I look for the reason in things? I used to. Now I look for patterns. I really try to track patterns, meaning like if I would long ago when I would move into these intimate relationships that were abusive, I started being like, why do I move towards abusive relationships? Why
yeah.
do I think this is love? I really looked for the pattern. Like I looked to track it back to when did I agree to the belief that love is this, love is pain,
Right.
that love is abuse. And so that's how I have really rewired my entire identity is tracking it back to the pattern, to the moment that I agreed that, love is pain, love is abuse. Cause then I was able to be like, okay, that's not my belief. That's an imprint that imprinted itself based on fear, because when I was getting abused long ago by my stepmom, one of the worst beatings she ever gave to me, she threw me in the tub so that I wouldn't hemorrhage because I was only in third grade. I'll never forget this. And she sat on the toilet and leaned forward to me. And she's like, you know, I love you, don't I? Don't you? And I was freezing naked, like bruised in this cold bath. And I was scared to death. And I said, yes. And in that moment, like it's funny when I was searching my mind for the pattern, that was the imprint that I agreed that
Yeah.
love was everything I was feeling in that moment, pain,
Mhm.
abuse, being beat, like, and I started dating men, in the beginning in my 20s that would beat me up because that's what love was. So it's important that at some point you listen to that little whisper that says, this can't be love. How can this be love?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
really have to listen and at some point try to track that pattern. Like, when did you first agree? You know, it's very
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. This is really bringing something up for me too right now. Because
What?
well, so I've been doing a lot of healing work around current circumstances that I'm dealing with, and I've tried things like EMDR. Like I just personally am not a fan of, like, EMDR made me throw up. Stuff where they ask you to go back to like a certain memory, that like
Mhm.
this one memory always comes into my mind, similar to like what you're saying,
Mhm.
but it's with my I don't want to throw shade or anything, but it's about a relationship that I was in, and it's this situation that I was in with this man that was saying things to me about how, I'm basically a worthless, piece of
Yeah.
crap and blah 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 blah. And every time I try to do any kind of therapeutic modality that forces you to go back to
Yeah.
some trigger, some memory, it's always that. And I feel like something major happened that day. Like because he was saying this stuff to me and I was too afraid to defend myself, so I was just
Yeah.
nodding. I was
Yeah,
like I was
exactly.
agreeing, kind of like what you said when you said yes.
But
Like I was nodding and agreeing to that. And I've never really completely, I have taken some of my power back since then, but there's still part of me that hasn't because I feel like what you're saying, like I feel like it's probably because I agreed with him when he
yeah,
was
but
saying,
mainly the emotional charge you were feeling in the moment of fear and what that, the higher the emotional charge when you are processing the data, the stronger the imprint. That's one thing I have learned and studied. So,
yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
you know,
Yeah. So now we have these limiting beliefs or whatever you want to refer to them as that come from these imprints. And so isn't your work about being able to rewire those?
yeah, that's why I focus fully on identity training, nervous system resets, and identity training. Because the nervous system imprint, which is what happened to both of us in that moment, decides what we get to keep. So in that moment, we decided that love wasn't safe, relationships aren't safe. So as adults, if we don't rewire that imprint, the minute we feel real love and someone being kind to us, we will push that away because we don't
Yeah.
feel safe to hold it. We don't feel safe to receive it. And then I say that our identity decides what's possible for us. So that man and my stepmom telling us that we're losers, we're pieces of S's, we will never believe that anything's possible for us because we have that imprint like, oh God, no, we're not going to get that because we're a piece of this. We're losers. We're not
Mhm.
worth anything. So you really have to rewire your identity, and because your identity decides what's possible for you. You really have to
Yeah.
hit it from both angles. You can't, that's why like a lot of people try to do affirmations and tell themselves, oh, they're this, they're that. But it's like you're creating cognitive dissonance. Like you're calling your mind calls bullshit on it because it doesn't believe, because it's been
Yeah.
believing the other identity for so long. So you really have to wrap a lot of science around this for it to transform the
It's
belief that you're
great.
trying to transform.
Yeah. It's crazy because I'm realizing like just recently, we're talking like a couple weeks ago, somebody made a post about me on Facebook that was really, really amazing. And like the comments that were coming from this post, like I was reading them and I'm like, who are they talking about? Like that. And one of my friends called me. He's like, "Did you see the post by blah blah blah? Did you see what everybody was saying?" And I was like, "Who are they talking about? Like that's not
You
that
couldn't
can't
believe it was you.
couldn't believe it could be about me. Like I
Isn't that
still can't.
sad? Isn't that sad?
It's really sad. And
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional again just thinking
Yeah.
about how sad it is. So what can we do to
A big part, speaking specifically to that, this is not part of what I teach, but I've done videos on this. It's where it's self-concept and self-love training. I say to write a list of all the things you think are amazing about yourself, starting from the inside out. We're not talking about physical attributes. We're talking about if you're a good friend, if you are good at gardening, if you nurturing, if you know how to take care, like every little detail, you guys, that you can possibly imagine that you think is cool about you. And then you take it to a mirror and you read it. You stare at yourself in the face and you read it. And it is the creepiest feeling in the world to sit there and look at yourself and talk good about yourself. It's pretty sad because I went through this. I was doing this and I was like sitting there saying all these amazing things to myself while looking at the mirror. And I was like, ooh, like it just felt cringe.
Mm-hmm.
My system couldn't receive it. I was like,
Yeah.
it was so cringe. But I will tell you, you continue, you continue, you continue. And eventually your system will open and it'll start to feel familiar. What you're doing is you're familiarizing your system with new information. You know what I mean? That's why you have to keep doing it. Repetition is how you dissolve disbelief. You have to keep pushing through the icky, cringe, disgusting feeling like they can't be talking about me. That's not true. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Because the more familiar it becomes with your system will no longer reject it. Does it make sense? It's almost like a new neighbor. Like they knock on your door and you're like, oh, it's a stranger, don't let them in. But the more you see the person, you feel more safe with them, and eventually you talk to them, and eventually you're friends. It's kind
Yeah.
of like that. You really have to look at it like that. Like it's just foreign, is why your
Right.
system resists it and why your system will reject it, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's weird because it shouldn't be foreign, like this has been the case for a while where people say really nice things to me and about me and stuff like that. So I feel like after this many years that I should be able to actually like receive it, but it's really hard for me to receive it.
You know what you could practice doing, which is really little micro movements, is like anytime someone pays you a compliment, don't hit it back and don't feel like you have to compliment them back. Just say thank you. And it's
Mhm.
so, again, it feels, I can even feel it. It feels so like you'll feel like a tightening in your chest just to receive it and let it be
Mhm.
yours. Nope, you don't got to give it's yours. It's your compliment. Just be like, thank you. And
Mhm.
just, that's practicing literally receiving and holding
Mhm.
instead of feeling, no, you got to give it back. Or no, no, you like have it, like, always making an excuse. We all do it. Oh, your outfit's cute. Oh, this thing, oh, it's cheap. We can't
Yeah.
just keep it and be like, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that was amazing, the podcast. Oh, really? Oh, God, I wish I would have done it. Like we're always, pay attention. We're always making excuses as to why there's no way I'm that good. No way possible.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just really practice receiving.
I just practiced for the first time I took this on. This was taught to me years and years and years ago by an old mentor who always said like when people clap for you, like if you're on stage and people clap for you to stand there and receive it. And I've never been able to do that. I
Yeah.
perform like as a musician and different things.
Oh, wow.
And it's almost like people are clapping and I'm just like running off the stage because that's like I'm done and I'm like done. But um recently, just last month, I spoke at an event and
Can I
I
say
don't
something
even
real fast? Just
yeah,
because you're saying that, that's how unsafe you feel to hold love, support,
yeah.
and just pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. So anyway, so I spoke at this event. I don't even know what I said. I feel like I channeled the whole thing. And
Mm.
at the end, I got a standing ovation, which I was very surprised because I was so nervous and I felt like I don't even know what I'm saying or what I said. And instead of running off, I just stood there and said thank you and just stood there. And
Did it feel like bullets?
but I feel like it was the first step in like trying to just
Yeah.
receive that, but there's definitely a lot more work to do because it was like not even a week later that that post happened and I was like, who are they talking about?
Just keep
Like
familiarizing yourself with it. Keep
yeah,
allowing it. Yeah. That's why I
you know.
say, like, I say we are who we train to be, but we're all training in the wrong direction. Meaning we're focusing on someone says something bad about you, you're like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. You know?
Yeah. Talk more
Um,
about that mantra, we are who we train to be. I want to hear more about like how can we put that into how can we implement that in a positive way to make a change?
Yeah, I think so much of transformation and change is cultivating awareness. And I say we are who we train to be, meaning every single decision, we're training a state of being. Example for us, every single decision, we're training whether we're lovable or not. You open your fridge, you pick something out, you're training a healthy version and unhealthy version. So really start paying attention to every decision you make. Someone presents an opportunity to you. Do you accept it or do you make an excuse? Because in that moment, you're training someone that gives up or you're training someone that moves toward the goal. You understand?
Mm. Yeah.
It's like almost like taking gold stars and be like, okay, I trained this today, I trained that. So I'm just saying that we kind of zoom out and pay attention to the decisions we're making because every single decision is moving us either towards the life we want or the life that we're comfortable in because it feels safe. But that's usually the limiting, lackluster, lack of self-worth side. You know what I mean? So I've just really made a conscious effort to pay attention to every single decision I'm making.
And so the training is making a different decision in that moment than
Moving towards the fear, moving towards the discomfort, moving towards what you want, and stop making excuses to stay safe. You know what I mean? Because our systems will always pull us back to what is safe. And the only thing that is safe, you guys, is what's known. It's not because it's better and it's not because it's truly safe. Like our abusive homes, like we'll go back. So many women that have been physically abused, what do? They always go back.
hmm
The guy gets arrested. What do? They go back home. It's not because it's safe, but it's just because their system has wired that that's safe just because it's familiar. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
much of what we want, what we crave, what we desire, what we dream is in the unknown because we've never been there. We've never experienced it. We've never seen it.
Mm.
So that's what's so interesting because we're going up essentially against primal coding, right? Stay safe.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy. So where does your intuition come into play here? Like because I feel like we're either living from fear or intuition, and our fear or our conscious mind is it wants to keep us safe, going all the way back to like when we were being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, and like it's in our conditioning or whatever. And
Totally.
so in order to move into the fear, a lot of times, like I know for me, and I think it's true for a lot of people, like a lot of times my intuition tells me to do things that seem crazy to me.
Yeah.
And when I do them, it's like the seas part and miracles happen.
Yeah.
But getting myself to do it sometimes, like for example, I had a recurring dream that I was supposed to sell everything and go to New Zealand for 6 months. And I was like, why is this happening? And finally I just did it. And people were like,
Wow.
it was right after 9/11, and I was living outside of New York City at the time. And they're like, you're gonna get on an airplane right now. And I'm like, yeah, like why? Because I just have this knowing that that's what I'm supposed to do. What? And even I was kind of like, I don't know. Do you know anyone in New Zealand? No. What are you going to do when you get there? I don't know. But I
Yeah.
went, and it was amazing. Like the whole experience was amazing. But like, I feel like a lot of times we get this guidance that's like
Yeah.
taking us into the unknown in a way that feels really uncomfortable or almost crazy or very crazy. And so how do we take that step? Like, why is it that like I was able to take that step, but a lot of people would have not done that? Like they would have just said, that's crazy. I don't know why I'm having this dream. It doesn't mean anything. Like,
That's what's so interesting about what you're sharing, because in one side of the story, it sounds fear-based, but that is all courage and faith. So it's interesting that you were able to make that move. The thing about our intuition, it's like we've heard this on several podcasts and from several people. It's a whisper. And the ego
mm-hmm,
is the one that screams. The ego is the one that fights to control, keep things the same, divide and conquer, right? So
mm-hmm,
it's interesting. The whisper may seem not powerful, right? Because it's a whisper and it doesn't repeat itself. So we're just like, oh, that can't be.
mm-hmm.
And the ego's
Right.
like, rah, rah, rah. This must be the tough one, the strong one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's interesting how you really start. The intuition is your higher self. It depends what you believe in. I think it's your individual soul journey telling you basically like, come this way. But do we
Mm-hmm.
listen? Do we listen or do we fight to keep things the same? It
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of courage to move into the unknown. But the unknown, like I say, is where all of our dreams can unfold. That's where we can build what we want because it's not built on the programs that have been built in us from our childhood.
Yeah.
A big part, do you do any nervous system resets? Like, can you feel when your system is like locking up? Like anytime you
Yeah.
feel short of breath, your shoulders rise, do you work with your body to do any type of nervous system resets? Because that is a game changer.
The only thing that I do, like I meditate every day regardless, but one thing that I do to just kind of reset is I use music, like I'll just put on a certain song and just like shake it out, dance it out, just try to change my vibe. But I would love to
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
what you recommend, because I know this is a lot of, your work is about this, and I would love to know some of your what suggestions around it.
With everything I do, believe it or not, the most powerful thing is the nervous system reset because majority of our nervous systems are locked up in survival or they trigger very easily based on, your experience, my experience. And again, I'm always telling people to cultivate awareness, like tune into your body. The minute you feel your shoulders rising, the grip, everything tightening, you have to realize that something you're thinking or doing is signaling danger to your nervous system. And as long as your nervous system locks up, all you are training is protection. You're training protection instead of possibilities. That's why I say
Hmm.
we're training. We're training in the background, whether we know it or not. So I say throughout the day, just start observing yourself. The minute you feel the tightening, you have to like stop for a minute. Stop. Take that deep breath, you guys, and just tap. Close your eyes and just tap the center of your chest and just say that you're safe. It's okay. It's okay. Because there's a signal, danger, danger, danger.
Mm.
And until you send a signal that no, 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 we're okay. Or pretend like you're rocking a baby, you can sway. It's okay. And all you're doing is you're training your nervous system that you're safe. You don't need to lock up. It's okay. There's no danger here because you
Mm.
have to continue to train your nervous system. Otherwise, it locks up, locks up, locks up, locks up. You're never going to be able to hold the love, the money, the success. You know what I mean? You have to train your nervous system to stay open to receive. I do this probably 5 times a day. I can have a phone call, I can read a text, I can do something, and I'll feel it lock because I'm just easily triggered because of my childhood and
Yeah.
my trauma. Now, let me tell you, I'm telling you, after about 3 weeks of doing this, it's interesting how you'll find yourself being very tired, like fatigued, because your system is finally not fighting anymore. It's finally like
Mm.
kind of in a surrender, but it's like it's a state of calm where your nervous system can just like downshift. And it's a really
Mm.
beautiful thing because as soon as I noticed that, then guess what? I met the man of my dreams. Guess what? I
Mm.
got this amazing opportunity. It's like almost like it started becoming a vacuum, pulling in all the stuff I've been wanting. So it's really interesting scientifically to observe what's going on in the body when you start to train your nervous system for possibilities instead of
Mm.
protection. Don't lock up. No, no, no. No, it's okay. Like literally, no, no, you're in traffic, you start getting irritated, you get all no, no, it's okay. Just, it's okay. Stay in your, because you're staying in your body, staying in your body, staying.
Mhm.
It's really powerful, you guys. I know it sounds like nothing, but we like to complicate healing.
Yeah.
Nervous system resets are gold, gold.
Yeah. I love this. Are you familiar with Michael Singer's work at all?
Um,
He
I,
wrote
I think I read
he
his
wrote
book, right?
The Untethered Soul, The
Unto the Soul.
Surrender Experiment.
I have these, yeah, it's right there at my book, actually. I was reading on the patio this morning, but I haven't got
Yeah.
through it yet. I just started that one.
Anyway, I love him so much. I
Tell
really
me.
have been studying his work and I listen to his podcast and stuff. But one of the things that I use of his regularly is
Hmm.
when you get triggered, because he's like, I don't believe in mantras. I'm not going to give you any type of specific meditation to do or anything like that. But he's like, if I was to give you a mantra,
Yeah.
be I can handle this. So whenever you get triggered, that's what you tell yourself. Just no matter what's happening, I can
Yeah.
handle this. And so like I had a situation where I had just gotten an email that it was horrible. It was like the worst thing. It was worse than you can even imagine, right? Like what somebody was doing and saying. And so I left, I started walking to the beach and I just rather, because I used to get like super, super triggered by this person to the point where it would knock me down for weeks.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I just started walking, going, I can handle this. I can
yeah.
handle this. And by the time I got to the beach, which is like 1 block from here, I could feel like, like I felt
Yeah.
so much better. And I do it, same thing, like, in traffic, running late for something, whatever it is, like the same
Mhm.
kind of thing. But I love this
Yeah.
technique that you're talking about because it's similar, except it's more body focused, I feel like.
Yeah.
Um, and
You know, the thing about these emotional charges too, they are packed with data. It's your trauma rushing to the surface. It's like I always like to say it's like a little baby screaming and crying. And what would you do? You would ask the baby, like, what do you need? So in those moments, like almost have that conversation, like connect with yourself. The biggest problem is we're so disconnected from ourselves, from suppressing it, not feeling it, pushing it away. I'll do it later. No. Like when it rises to the surface, like, oh, what am I feeling right now? What do I need? Like it's so raw. The energy is so
mm-hmm,
raw in that moment. It's packed with data, I say. And it won't always surface, but just continue to ask the question, like, what am I needing right now? Like, you know
mm-hmm,
what I mean? Like in the moment of that, whoever triggered you, like, where could you expand spiritually? Where can you grow in that moment based on that situation?
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't really know the details of it, so it's hard for me to break it down, but could you learn to be
Yeah.
more vulnerable in that moment? Can you learn to communicate better in that moment? Can you learn to express your unmet needs with clarity, with no wobble in that moment? Can you learn to stay in your power and be like, no, this is what's happening? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And really start exercising that new identity of this is
Mm-hmm.
who I am now. No, I'm not the person that collapses. I'm not the person that shrinks. I'm not the person that fades to the back and gets quiet. I stand, I fight for myself. And this is who I am now. And this is what we're doing. And this is where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to start anchoring in that identity and you have to rehearse her,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that
It's
training.
not easy, guys. It's not easy. But this is the work. You rehearse her, and it gets easier and it gets easier and it gets easier until you just are that new identity. You know, work on the nervous system. No, 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 we're safe. We're safe. Keep signaling to your nervous system you're safe. But then you also have to focus on the identity, and that's through action. Like in a situation like that, it's like game on. Let's do it. Ready, aim, fire. Rehearse the new you. You know.
Hmm.
It's not easy, but it is the work, and eventually it does become easy, and then you're in such a place of inner authority and power. And I always say so much of my work is so that you can feel your feelings fully. Feel the pain, feel the love, have the tools in place to bring yourself back to baseline. You can move towards that love story, even if it's going to hurt, because you know you have certain modalities, you have certain systems in place that you can handle it. Like you said, you got this because you have
Hmm.
systems in place to bring yourself back to baseline, systems in place that allow you to focus on the love, focus on the lesson, and continue expanding spiritually.
Hmm. Yeah, because even that, I can handle this is basically me telling myself that I'm safe
Yeah.
because I don't think that I am. We think that we're not safe, and if we can remind ourselves, in this way or by saying something like that, that we're safe, I think like that's huge in and of itself, like for our nervous system. Is there a reason why,
Don't
like,
move, but don't move. Like you said, it took you a while until you feel your system soothe. Like you said, you finally felt your shoulders.
mm-hmm,
Until you feel that, you're not done. You keep doing it and keep
yeah,
walking, keep tapping, keep swaying.
mm-hmm,
Wait for the signal. You'll feel the signal. Your body doesn't need another story. It needs a signal. Tune
yeah.
in, connect, guys. That's what this is about. Stay connected till you feel the release. Because then the work, your session, let's say your self session is done.
So does I think in your work you talk about using sensation rather than talking to rewire. So can you talk a little bit about that? Like why does sensation work better or faster?
Yeah, because our body, like I say, our body doesn't talk. Our body needs a signal of safety. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need us to say, like obviously we could say we're safe all day long, but that doesn't really work. It was the combination of you saying that while walking on the beach, hearing the water, feeling the sand on your feet. You understand how much sensory feedback was going on. And it still
Yeah.
took you a while. So it's a combination. That's why I say hit it from every angle. Yeah, say it, feel it, move it, write it. You really have to hit it from every single angle. And that's also why that worked for you. And swaying, same thing. The reason why swaying is so powerful or tapping is because it's a rhythm. Rhythm signals safety. Rhythm was the first signal of safety that we knew, our mother's heartbeat when we were a baby, we were rocked. So our body remembers. Our body remembers what safety feels like. And rhythm, the reason why it signals safety is because it's a predictable pattern. It's what we've been talking about, you guys. It knows what's coming next. Rhythm is repeated. Rhythm is
Mm-hmm.
repeated. So there's no fear because it's in the known. The body knows I'm going right. I'm going left. I'm going right. You know what I mean? You're signaling safety through rhythm.
Mm,
And
that's
anytime the
interesting.
system feels safe, it's opens. When the system feels safe, it's open. So you can imprint whatever you want. Meaning, once that's why I do nervous system resets before I do my rhythmic training. Because if the system's locked up, nothing's going to stick, nothing's going to stay. You have to soothe the system, get the gates to open, then a really quick 2 minute session to imprint the belief that we're working on, whatever that is, you know?
And what does that 2-minute session consist of?
So my 2 minutes, they're rhythmic affirmations, but it's strategic wordplay. You have to frame words in a certain way that bypasses your mind's defenses, meaning the part of your mind that calls bullshit on you. You know, you can't just
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm loved, I'm wealthy, I'm safe, because the part of your mind, the logical part of your mind that has never felt that will be like, oh, yeah, where, how? I don't feel that. I don't see that. So when
Mm-hmm.
you're working with affirmations, I'm very strategic. You have to frame them in a certain way that it gets your right and left brain. God, I get too sciencey on this. I'm really trying to simplify it, but your right and your left brain moving together as one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they may seem like rhythmic riddles, but there is a lot of science and strategy behind my rhythmic sessions.
Is this something that you invented yourself or?
It is, believe it or not. This is the thing. Like I was dealing with so much rumination and just so much negative self-talk. Like, it was inherited and then the trauma on top of it. I just noticed I was so much insecure than other people. Like I was so jealous and I was just so angry. And I just noticed that my emotions were not normal. Like if I had a boyfriend, I was so jealous. I would just got so sick of it because it was my thoughts. And so I was like, I had to find a way to outrun my own mind. Like you, I have a music background. And one day I remember this song got stuck in my head and I was irritated. I'm like, oh my God, get this out of my head. Like, why is this stuck in my head? And that's when I started realizing that rhythm is sticky. All
Mm-hmm.
these rhythmic riddles are sticky. And then I started thinking, okay, so if I could find a way to combine this with this, and it really just birthed through
Mm,
trying to save myself. And then that was working. So great. I replaced my negative thought patterns, but then I'd be like, okay, but why am I still feeling this tension in my chest? That's when I learned the nervous system reset. And then I was like, okay, but why am I still like angry? Why can't I control my anger? And that's when I had to learn energy, you guys. All energy is different. When a therapist tells you to breathe when you're angry, that's not going to work because anger energy is spiraling up. So you can breathe, but it has to be an aggressive breath. Energy has to be met where it is. If you are angry,
mm,
it has to be a hard, aggressive breath until you clear your mind of all thought, not a calming breath. It doesn't work. Again, you're going to create that resistance and it does more harm than good. If you're
mm,
depressed, you're collapsing. So, what kind of breath do you need? A belly breath that's going to expand and open you up. You know what I mean? So, you really have to learn different energies and how to meet each energy. They're not all the same, they move differently.
mm.
There's
Wow.
a lot of side, like, that's what I mean. Like, you have to really be intentional and really know what you're doing so that you do it right. Because when you do it right, transformation is fast. And also, you guys, you feel powerful because you're like, oh my God, I can handle it. Like truly, I can handle this. I know exactly what to do. I don't have to
Yeah.
wait to go to my therapist and pay, $200, $500 because I could do this at home and then maintain, if you're in a therapy, maintain that. But you also have to have systems in place when you're at home alone in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. Do you do any kind of like breath work specifically, or is it just the breath that you just explained? Is that just part of the rest of the stuff that you?
Do you mean personally or in my programs?
Both. Like, what are your thoughts about breath work? I know breath work is kind of a becoming a household name at this point. Like, more and more
I,
people are using breath work, and there's a lot of different types of breath work. And I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah,
what you're explaining is a type of breath work, I
sure.
guess. But like, as far as the kind of breath work that is, you know, very kind of common these days, what are your thoughts about that compared to like your work?
I mean, I think learning how to breathe is very important. I think we underestimate how powerful the breath is. Breath brought us into this world, and our last breath will take us out. So, how we don't focus on breath is beyond me. I do believe in breath work. However, again, you have to know what you're working on personally. If you're someone that struggles with depression, you need to focus on deep belly breathing, things that expand your vessel. If you're someone that, struggles with anger, I've struggled with both. You need to do more like breath of fire and you need to dissipate the energy that's always spiraling in you. You know what I mean? So you really have to know which energy you're working with and do the proper breath for that, because we're all so individually challenged, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're feeling in a depressive state, that's when you do the deep belly breathing. Do the best you can. I don't like to coach people too much because some people don't know how to breathe. So they can't take an inhale for 4. They don't have enough space. They don't have their lungs haven't been taught to expand like that. You know what I mean? So just know if you can't do a 6 count breath, a 4 count breath, just breathe, expand your tummy. Make sure you expand your diaphragm, your tummy, and collapse it. I like to
Yeah.
start really small, because breathing's hard.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
love
really
how
hard.
you've kind of added this element to like knowing which kind of breath to do, because I feel like the different breath work that I've done with different practitioners is everybody does the same thing based on what they're teaching. It's not according to
Right.
how you're feeling. It's just like this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I like that you have like different types of breathing for different to meet people where they're at and make
Yeah.
sure that
People need to learn how to meet their own energy where it's at.
Yeah.
Really, those are I really try to make everything as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, if you're collapsing into the depressive state, expansion, big breath. If you're angry,
Mm-hmm.
you're spiraling, your chest breathing, meet the energy. Like, when you're angry, you're chest breathing. When you have anxiety, you're chest breathing. Good. Meet the energy. Let it dissipate, 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 dissipate. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a teapot, when it starts to.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Um, and I know we're getting to close to the end here, but there's another topic that I wanted to just ask you about, which is overthinking, because this is something that I do all the time. It's my current mantra that I use all the time is don't overthink it, don't overthink it. I overthink everything right now. I think part of it is because I don't trust myself because of just all the chaos that's going on in my life. Like it's hard to trust
Yeah.
my inner knowing, and I have a really strong intuition, but like I tend to find myself overthinking. So I want to hear what you
Yeah.
have to say about that.
I just did a video on this. When you're overthinking, your brain is literally like essentially spiraling.
Mhm.
Again, it just doesn't feel safe, doesn't feel safe. So it doesn't know which way to go, doesn't know where to go. You know what I mean? I can't tell you enough. Just you have to constantly be doing the nervous system resets. I swear.
Mhm.
Before when I'm laying in bed at night, I just do it. Whether I need to or not, I just do it. It's like
Mhm.
priming. You're priming your system. You're priming it what safety feels like. So that when you're triggered and overthinking, when you do that, it's like, oh yeah, that's that. We're safe. That's that familiar feeling. That's why I think it's imperative that you do it constantly. Even if you do it for a minute, no matter what, if you're sitting there, if you're sitting watching TV, just drop in for a second. You're familiarizing your system with safety. I
Mhm.
swear to you, when you do that, the minute you start overthinking and you get in that indecisive mode and your brain is spiraling, it's just because your system is signaling danger, danger, danger.
Mm.
Obviously, our thought patterns, that's a big part of my method is rhythmic thought patterns. Because so much of what we think is, like I say, conditioned, distorted based on our traumas. So a
Mhm.
big part of what I do is the rhythmic affirmations I was telling you about. Those are essentially what I call locked and loaded thought patterns, training your mind in the other direction, training your mind in the direction that love is safe, love feels good, money is safe, money feels good. What they're doing because of the fact that they're upbeat and it's essentially like pop tracks. It really is. It's like a pop track in music. It feels good. So the combination of saying the rhythmic riddle that's in the session, along with the fact that it's over really fun music and you move your body, you're anchoring it into your body. It's kind of like muscle memory. Instead of forcing a belief, you're installing it. And in the
Mm.
process of saying whatever you're saying, moving, listening to the music, you're reminding your body that, oh yeah, money feels good. Love feels good. Love feels safe. It's all about signaling safety. It's like I feel like I'm repeating myself, but like everything we want is on the other side of feeling safe.
Mm.
Safe in the love, safe in the success, safe in the abundance.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone like tie everything back into that like you are. I think it's really powerful. Can you tell us a little bit more about like your work? Like what are some different ways that people can work with you, and what does that look like?
So I do one-on-ones and I prime people that it's not talk therapy. You're going to be moving your body. We're gonna be jumping around. You're gonna be huffing, puffing, breathing. We're installing. You know what I mean? So my one-on-ones are really fun. But then obviously, like I say, we are who we train to be. All of my 30-day programs are online. They're digital programs. They're 30-day programs because we need to be training for the person we desire, right? Training for that success, training for that love story. So I have the digital programs that they can do in between sessions. And that consists of, like I say, session a rhythmic audio session, a digital journal, and a daily tracker. What you're doing, like I say, you're listening, you're moving. The digital journal, you're writing it, then you're tracking it off, you're holding yourself accountable. And eventually you build an identity that believes, yeah, that's possible for me. It really does. It's crazy how scientifically powerful it really is because eventually You'll have a conversation with your friend about love, and eventually that shitty thought that used to pop up, that naysayer, is just missing. I remember
Mm,
when this first started happening for me, I literally, it's almost like I was looking back, being like, where'd that shitty thought go? Like it was just gone because you're replacing thought patterns. You're literally carving new neural
yeah.
patterns.
Yeah. I can't, I wouldn't even recognize myself without that.
Trust me, you'll have a going away party. You'll be like,
Yeah.
bye-bye. No,
Yeah.
you do. You have moments where you're like, who dat? Who dat? There's no,
Yeah.
that's me.
Because I've lost all trust in myself as far as like I'm like always like my picker's broken.
I'm going to send you, okay, you know what? I'm going to send you a session that I just did. It's for reclaiming inner authority. It's powerful. And obviously, I say a handful of things, but then your mantra is I delete, I command, I override. But the music is pumping. There's a certain movement I want you to do. I love that one. It just makes me feel so powerful and good. It's like, basically, it's like for every time you've questioned your worth, for every time self-doubt tried to freeze you, it's like I delete, I command,
Mhm.
I override. It's just, my audios are really cool.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Um, so the one-on-one sessions you do, are those over Zoom? How do those work?
Yeah, those are over Zoom. And
So,
I have a questionnaire ahead of time, so I have everything mapped out for the session. And um they will take an audio based on what they're working on. I'll use a certain audio session in our session, and then they also get that for free. I kind of just give that to them so that they can maintain it. But for the first couple times, I want them to do it with me because I want to
hmm
make sure they're doing it right. Also, there's a big part of it. Like it's not a one size fits all. Like I'll do the movement I suggest, but if you don't connect with that movement, then we're going to change it. You know what I mean? We have to customize for ourself. And the
Yeah.
big part of why this is so powerful, because it forces the people connect back to yourself. Don't be a people pleaser and tell me that this feels good. Does it really? If not, we can change it. There's 1,000 different things we could do. But it forces
hmm
people to reflect and like, are you feeling this? Are you connecting with this? Do you feel powerful in this? If not, we'll change it. So much of our loneliness and our issues is the constant self-abandonment, trying to please people.
hmm
Like I refuse to let anyone abandon themselves in my sessions. Be like, I'll push on them
Yeah.
because I can tell.
That, that's in and of itself, I was thinking that is so powerful because so many people would rather not speak
Agree.
up.
Yeah, don't agree with me. Like I have a
Yeah.
thousand different things we could do. You know what I mean? Like this
Yeah.
is, you know,
It's good practice in really speaking up for yourself and speaking your truth.
yeah. I mean, it's
For
so hard for
some.
people to do that. It's listen, you have to decide who you are because if you don't, this world is going to decide for you. Because we are
Hmm
living in a very, very fake world that's feeding real anxiety, fake love, fake wealth, fake happiness. I say you're not lacking, you're living in a system that's lying.
Yeah. So, just because you're bringing up this world that we're in right now, and
Mhm. Drives me nuts.
I just want to ask, how do we stay high vibe, high frequency?
Training. Honestly, guys, you have to like you have got to have systems in place. The world's not getting any nicer. It's moving faster. It's going to get scarier, I think, with AI coming around the corner. It's so unknown for us. That's why I
Hmm
say you have to have your own systems in place to bring yourself back to baseline, or else you're going to suffer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, therapy's great, but it's just never been my thing because I need something right now when I'm spiraling. I need something right now, you know?
hmm
And that's why I created everything I do.
Yeah. Well, I've, like I said before, like I've done a lot of therapy in my life and I just have really moved away from it because I feel like just talking about the negative stuff doesn't, for me, it doesn't create results. Like what has created results for me is going directly into the fear with like ayahuasca or something, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
coming out in like 2 days and like I just got rid of a bunch of stuff like that, in just doing the dark, hard work rather than sitting there just rehashing it over and over again in a therapy session. Like, I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
never.
I mean, scientifically, that engraves the neural pathway. It's like taking the defibrillator patterns, boom, and you're keeping that story alive.
Yeah,
And when you
exactly.
talk about you're keeping it alive in your system, you have to feel, I mean, I can't imagine what that feels like.
hmm
sitting there in a chair talking about your problems over and over. And I feel like maybe they know that because then they know that you're a client for life. If
Yeah.
they keep you talking about it, they keep you sick. I don't know. Like I've never
Yeah.
been in a therapy thing either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last therapist that I fired, I was in therapy for my current circumstances, and I just got to the point where I was just like this is not healing me at all. Like it's just reminding me about what's going on and why and how I'm never fully going to understand it, that you can't really fully understand it. It helped me to feel a little bit less crazy about like not being able to understand what's happening. But then after a
Mhm.
while and having the same conversation, I was like, I want to heal. I want to feel better. Like I don't want to just keep having this conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, I'm
like
paying to feel like shit.
I want like a result. Like I want to noticeably feel better,
Yeah.
and I don't, so bye.
Yeah, I
And
mean, like you really have to just, we are the healers. You don't need anything externally. I think that's the problem is we keep searching
yeah.
externally. We have everything we need. We have, we have our bodies, we have rhythm, we have our voice, we have our thoughts. Like all we have to do is train everything in the right direction.
Mhm.
We've
Yeah.
just spent most of our life, like I say, training in the wrong direction,
Yeah.
believing non-truths,
Hmm.
allowing imprints to guide us, living from the wound,
Yeah. Yeah.
living and loving from the wound, let's say, even.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I love this. I love the work that you're doing. I know that you had mentioned a couple of freebies that you wanted
Yeah.
to offer. Free walking meditation, I think was one of them you mentioned.
It's beautiful. Actually, when you said you went on a walk on the beach, I was like, oh, this is gonna be perfect for you. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on that. Like so many people have listened to it, and this woman, she's like, I went grocery shopping and I just put it on. It's only an hour long, but it only because it loops. It's the same thing that loops after 3 minutes. She's like, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, she's like, I just felt it finally clicked. It's funny how many times you have to hear the same thing before it clicks, but it's so beautiful. I listen to it every day.
Mhm. Is it in your voice?
Everything's my voice. Everything's my voice, my music. I've written everything. And then I want to give you a demo of what one of my sessions, not the one-on-one session, but what the digital download session feels like, where it's the nervous system reset and then the
Mhm.
rhythmic um, thought training, I guess you can call it. I've called it several things. I'm trying to simplify it. To me, it's identity training, but a lot of people are like, what's that? I'm like,
Yeah.
locked and loaded thought patterns. I'm still trying to work that out. Let me know
Yeah.
if anything comes to mind because I want people to understand that basically we're just training your mind in the direction of the life that you want.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna do that
So
for you.
the walking meditation, and then there's a nervous system,
It's
something.
a demo. Yeah, it's a short, it's not the full session that you get
Yep.
when you download the digital downloads. I just kind
Okay.
of took a clip of each one and sliced it together so they can get a feel of what it feels like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So those will be in the show notes for anybody that wants to experience some of Angela's work. I'm excited to.
Yeah, it's just about like innovating what already exists, right?
Yeah. Well, it's true. I feel like we do spend so much time looking for answers outside of ourselves, even like asking people for advice. Like my experience, I've learned so much about this in the last few years since I've been navigating through some really hard times in my life. And like, I have some friends that really love me and their advice is sound. It's good advice. It's just they're not in my shoes. So why would I be asking somebody who's not standing right here dealing
Yeah.
with what I'm dealing with for their advice? And it's not because it's not good advice. It's because I don't, like the only reason that I would do that is because I'm not trusting my own knowing. And my knowing and my path that I've chosen is very different than what most people advise. Like I've taken this path of the Tao Te Ching, which is no force, no conflict, no interference. And most
Mhm.
people are like, get your lawyer back on the field, and I'm like, no, I'm not, and they don't. So the advice that I'm getting makes me question
Mm-mm. I agree with you.
my own path,
Yeah.
and so, but I feel like so many of us do that where we're like, we want validation from other people that what our knowing is telling us to do is accurate. And when other people don't validate that because it's not the way that they see the situation, they're
Yeah.
seeing it through their filters and their outside perspective, then it makes us question our own
Yeah.
knowing, and it actually does more harm than good. And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think,
that's what leadership is though, right? Leadership is you don't need everyone's advice.
hmm
So that's why it's like you really have to become the leader and the driver of your own life, you know?
yeah. And I don't know why it's so hard for us to do that as humans. Like, what is it? I mean, I know we're whatever tribal people, like,
Well,
we've
that's
always.
exactly it though. Because when you lead, you are the only one going that way.
hmm
It's primal coding. Like that's why the science has just been game changer for me because where religion and spirituality didn't like allow me to understand certain things, like when I started studying the science of things like primal coding, that's why it's so hard to be a leader. Scary. You're the only one going that way and
hmm
everyone's behind you, you know?
Yep. Yeah, it is. And it's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to other people, and even like, seeing other people's success and thinking that we should be doing things more like they're doing. And it's like, no, it's not, that's not the case. Like, you're not them. Even if you
No, I
do the
think the
exact
only
same
thing
thing they're doing, it's not going to work for you.
well, you just have a different path to get there. You know what I mean? What I do is I
Mhm.
allow that to inspire me. Okay, it's possible. Like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we're just like, it's not possible. So that's why like so much of my time is watching masterclass and just watching documentaries, just seeing did you know Posh Spice lost $66 million over seven before she ever had success in her club? I didn't know that. I was like, it's just something really lovely about saying, okay. Because what happens, you guys, in the process is we're constantly fine-tuning ourselves and becoming a better version of ourselves. Because if we were to get the success that we wanted right now, we most likely wouldn't be able to hold it. Like if I wasn't the person I am right now, there's no way I could have held the love of the man that I've attracted now. I didn't have the communication skills. I didn't have the vulnerability. I just wouldn't have been able to hold him. You know what I mean? And same with success. Like, do you know how to do accounting? Do you know how to, are you organized? Like, there's so many things that you really have to become a better version of yourself, or else it's just going to hit the fan. So we
Mhm.
are constantly fine tuning in the process of these very painful, challenging journeys, you know, sharpening
Yeah.
our sword, essentially.
Yep. Yeah. So good. So
Like
good.
you're in
So
the middle
good.
of a huge rebuild right now. If everything's being taken away, like if everything's kind of collapsing,
Mhm.
it's time to really focus on exactly what you want and
Mhm.
bring that into your reality, you know? I always think that like if everything's being taken away, good. Okay, great. Clean slate. What do I want?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and it's true, and it's hard to
And the
um
dream, babe, not the little small, the big dream. What do you want?
yeah.
Everything. Just
Yeah.
pretend. If I could have
Yeah.
everything, what? Write it down and just focus.
It's interesting because I teeter between that, where I get like really excited and all I see is possibility from this blank slate,
Hmm.
between that and then just the grief and the sadness and the past and the having a hard time letting go.
Okay.
And it's like I try to, maybe your work would help me with like switching back, like staying like like I know this is all happening for my highest and best. I know that my soul came here to evolve in big ways in this lifetime, and this is my curriculum, and it's here to serve me. I know that. But then somehow I forget and I go back into this like victim mentality where,
You're not forgetting. It's just the other identity has been
yeah.
alive longer. Like literally, it's just you're training the new version of you. And so it's beautiful that you say that you have moments where it's all possibility because that's the that's the higher version of you, the best version of you. Like the that's why I say identity training. You're training that new identity. The
hmm
woman that can hold the love, that can hold the success, that can hold the possibility. But of course, the other version of you still exists. How old are you? You know what I mean? I didn't start this till I was like 35. I'm 50 now. So, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, just
hmm
acknowledge that girl because she's the one that kept you alive, survived for you. If you can
hmm
almost, and just be like, thank you, but I got, again, but I got this. And
hmm
pretend like you're almost the mother to the broken version of you. Be like, it's okay, sweetheart. Like, you can rest now. I got this.
Yeah.
Like, really, I have to really find ways like that. It almost that gave me shivers just now when I said that. Like the
hmm
little girl that was keeping you alive, that's scared to death, that's saying, no, 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 come back down this way. No, it's scary up there. You know, like really just be like, be the mother to yourself. Like, I got this, sweetheart. We're good. You can rest now. I'm going to make
Mm.
a beautiful life for us. I'm going to show you, you know. Oh, it gives me shivers.
You're making me cry just
I know it
thinking.
gives me shivers. We really have to find a way to really speak to ourselves like that because it is a split.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got little survivor that has got you this far, but now
Mm.
you're just going to show her the most beautiful life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, so good. So
You're
good.
making me cry. Oh my
Uh,
God. I've just been there. And it's like when I really started speaking to myself like that, divided myself, like every time like I was the mother and I was keeping her safe and I was finally listening to her, I was just like, wow, I was like bawling.
mm,
Because when she rushes to the surface scared, we're like, we put her back in the closet. Shh, no, you can't feel that. It's like, no. Like, oh
yeah.
my God, that little girl's like screaming, like, help me. Like, we're not safe. We're scared.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot, but it is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for for this conversation. Can you let our listeners know where they can find you on wherever you are, social media, website, all the good things?
Yeah, my everything's at Angela Jean Chat. My programs are at soulsyncsessions.com.
Soul Sync SYNC
Correct. Because
sessions.
I think we should sync our soul daily.
Yes.
Soul sync sessions.
I love that.
Yeah.
SSS.
Yeah.
I love it. And are there any like last closing thoughts that you want to leave people with? Anything I didn't ask you? Anything that you want to share?
Not really. I
Um,
mean, I just have a couple, like nothing major, but I always say that we really need to start being responsible for the energy that we bring into the world because it's a domino effect on the conscious collective. I do believe when one rises, we all rise. And now that
mhm,
I'm at the other side of my transformation, it is a duty for me to continue to stay high vibe, to hold light for others. It is my duty. You know what I mean? That I just feel like now that I'm on the other side, I have got to hold the light for others. And that's why I say when one rises, we all rise.
mm,
Because I am officially a vehicle of service, you know?
mhm.
So that's all. That's all.
I love it. And one last question, just out of curiosity, what do you do to stay fit? Because you're super fit.
Yeah, well, I've been in sports my whole life because I was angry. No.
The good stress
So that
relief.
helps. So like, God, John, I hate that person. No, but I was in sports my whole life, but Pilates, and then I do weight train. Weight training is imperative. Midlife, weight training is
Hmm.
imperative. And also, it helps you, like you say, walking. We got to be moving our energy daily. We can't be sitting on our asses all day.
Hmm.
Move the energy, get up, shift your state.
Yep, absolutely. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been amazing.
Thank you,
And
Amy.
I really appreciated this conversation. And everybody definitely check the show notes and go grab some of Angela's free gifts that she's offering. And let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you guys in the next episode. And thanks again, Angela.
Thank you, Amy.
And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.